Hello, my name's Catherine and welcome to Purposeful Fridays. Today we're going to be talking about the challenges that we face in living true to our authentic self. It wasn't long ago I wrote a blog on this particular topic, and I used the metaphor of an actor and a director to, explain a little bit more about the challenges that we have. And the reason I use this is because as an actor, the moment you step foot on stage, you actually relinquish all control of who you are as a person. You hide who you are as an individual and you allow others to control your behaviour according to their expectations. So, and that's obviously the director and the producer and the choreographers. They, from that moment you're on stage, they control where you move, how you move, what you say, what you don't say, the expressions of your face, when you cry, when you laugh. They control how you look, your makeup, your hair, what you're wearing. And this actually happens in real life as well, except the director, the producer, the choreographers, they're our family and friends. They're the people we work with. They're our boss. There are community groups that we're part of, whether it's a sporting group or religious or even the school community. They all have expectations around how we should behave if we want to belong to this group. So, there's things that we're allowed to talk about and not allowed to talk about. In some instances, they dictate how we should look, what we should wear. And a question I have for you today is, why do we conform to these social norms and expectations of others at the expense of living a life of who we really are and being true to ourselves? And the simplest answer is that we want to belong, we want to be accepted by others and build connections. And that's totally normal. It's actually very natural as humans to, and it's a basic human need, to feel that we belong and that we're accepted by others. But the other challenge we have, and I think we all know this, is when we are conforming to others' expectations, whether it's our parents, our husband, we feel this internal conflict because it doesn't align with who we are. We have these conversations in our head around, but I don't like doing that, or I don't agree with it and I really don't want to do it, but I will. And so we do, because we want to please those people that we love. But what happens is over time, this turns into resentment. This internal conflict turns into resentment against those very same people that we're trying to please. And we start to feel discontent in our home life, at work, in our relationships. And ironically, we also, a lot of the time, feel that we're not meeting those expectations, that we're failing to meet the expectations of those that we love. And this creates a lot of anxiety and disappointment in ourselves because we feel like we're letting people down. The research, if you look into the research, it clearly shows that by living authentically, you're living your authentic self, actually increases your happiness and your emotional intelligence and your physiological well-being. So what I can't understand is why would any of us want to rob ourselves of those positives, or rob anyone else of those by having expectations of how we believe they should behave. And I know society's improving. We're more open to diversity and more accepting of different thoughts, but we all still have a lot of unconscious bias that pops up. And I guess this happened very recently for me. My daughter is getting married in just over a week, and it's very fair to say that her and her future husband are probably not conforming to the societal norms of a wedding ceremony or the events leading up to a wedding. They've made some pretty hard decisions which have resulted in having some fairly tough conversations as well. But they are making these decisions based on what's important to them, based on their values and their beliefs, and they're being true to themselves. And I'm ashamed to admit that I actually was one of those people. My unconscious bias came up, and when my daughter said that she wasn't going to have a hens party, I'm like, what? You've got to have a hens party, at least have a kitchen tea or a bridal shower, because that's what you do, right? But do you have to? So they are non-conforming to these social expectations and traditions of what a wedding should be, and they're doing what they want, what feels right to them. And you could say they're being selfish, but I actually disagree. They're not being selfish, they're not being self-centered, they're not being egotistical. They're actually choosing to be their authentic self. And they're taking responsibility and ownership of their lives, which I think is very courageous. And I'm very proud of the courage that they've shown. Because it's very easy to play victim in our lives. It's very easy to relinquish control to others and live by their expectations and blame them when things go wrong. But that's not what these two young adults are doing. They're actually taking control of their destiny and honouring themselves. And it does take a lot of courage and personal strength to challenge the societal norms, to live life authentically. It also requires a really clear understanding of who you are as a person, as an individual, what your core beliefs and values are. It also requires you to know what's really important, what it is that you want to achieve during your life on this planet. Because we all have a choice to make. We can either be an actor or we can be a director. So on this Purposeful Friday, I ask you to take a moment to think about some of the decisions that you've made in your life that have gotten you where you are today. Who played a role in influencing those decisions? And have they taken you where you really want to be? I ask, how many of us have pursued careers that were guided by our parents because there was more money or more stability, or it was a job for life? Or our great-grandfather, our grandfather and our father were X. So of course you've got to be X. Think about those decisions and choices that you've made. Then spend some time thinking about whether or not you'd like your story to end differently. How might that look? And what actions do you need to take? What changes do you need to make? Thank you for spending Purposeful Friday with me. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you next week.